Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am currently recording this one from the kitchen. It's something a little different in the background. I want to talk about what happened this past week, some kind of general updates that are happening with the series in general, and also what I took away from this week as well. So let's get into it. Okay, so first I want to do a couple little updates on the kind of the series as a whole, as I've kind of gotten to a little bit more of a cadence on doing these episodes. I thought the last episode, that in particular the recaps of the gigs that are going on are getting a little long. So I'm going to try to kind of focus on really highlighting interesting things that happened, new places I've played or I haven't talked about before, but really kind of getting a little quicker with those in general, because I think the meat of this series is really the tips. The other thing I want to talk about, which I mentioned in the last episode, was that I do have some downtime coming, at least in terms of performance. In November, on the 8th, I'm going to be getting surgery on my hand, and it is my fretting hand, and it is 100% related to the act of playing the guitar. I just kind of overworked my hand for a while, and the tendon sheaths on these two fingers can get really sore. I actually first noticed it when I grabbed my steering wheel once, and it just hurt, just like a knife wound. It was pretty bad. Before I get too far into this journey, I wanted to take the opportunity to kind of get a new baseline and clean it up. So that's happening November 8th. I am booking nothing from November 8th to December 15th. That's my optimistic return to work timeline right now. So during that time, I'm still planning to do episodes. I might take time off if I need to, but my plan is to still do an episode a week. So just wanted to kind of put that out there. My gig schedule might get a little thin as I am having a harder time kind of reaching out to places and just saying, hey, I'd love to play your event. I'm not available. That's an awkward introduction, and I want to really show what I can do pretty quickly. So yeah, that's something that's kind of in the landscape right now. So talking about the gigs from this past week, there were 4 of them, and as promised, I'm going to be pretty quick about this. The first was the Los Altos Wine Stroll, which was another Los Altos on the street event. I was a little far from the tasting sites, so they had different tasting sites in different places, which meant that I got a lot of people kind of passing from point A to point B instead of kind of sitting and enjoying wine. So not as busy as many times when I do these kinds of events, but still a really good event overall. Saturday I got to play 2 places in Pacifica and Half Moon Bay. The morning in Pacifica was at the Chit Chat Cafe, which is a place that I really love playing at. It's just a really cute little spot. It's right on the coast. You get to see the surfers coming in for their coffee. Just a really nice vibes. Just A+ vibes. And I also had a really fun, probably my most interesting tip that I've ever received. And I don't mean get a haircut hippie or anything like that. But I was playing, and I was actually dealing with a slight bit of pain. Pain is kind of my thing on my picking hand. And so I actually had on this part of my finger, I think I was pushing down too hard as I was playing. And someone just gave me this, hey, try this. I mean, I don't know if I looked like I was in pain or stretching my hand too much or what, but said, hey, I got a bunch of picks. He's someone who just learned the guitar. What do you think of this? And here, take this. So he gave me this little rubber sheath that you can put on a pick. This is a medium weight pick right now, similar to what I do use, actually the right gauge for what I use, because I like having the ability to do leads and have that kind of firmness. And I tried it, and I was using less and less force, and it was actually feeling pretty good. So just like the universe provided, a very, very cool, surprisingly relevant moment. It was pretty neat. Then I went directly from there through the traffic to Half Moon Bay, where they were having their pumpkin festival, and then I got to play Ocean Ciders again. Made it there on time. Was set up. It was really nice. Great crowd. Loved playing there. Happy to play there again. Playing there again. Last gig before my surgery actually is going to be Ocean Ciders, so I'm happy to be returning there. And then finally on Sunday, I was at a Grape in the Fog, which is a wine bar in Pacifica. So a lot of California coast this weekend. And that's a place it's probably one of the first places I actually ever played. It was the second place I ever played, actually, as a solo performer. And I played there periodically, throughout my entire time playing music. I was really starting to ramp up when the pandemic hit, and I think the last gig that was canceled before the pandemic was at Grape in the Fog. So back there to celebrate their 13th anniversary. Really robust crowd, great response. I did Sweet Caroline. I had people singing along all the parts. It was a lot of fun. And there was a couple hiccups here and there. We're going to talk about hiccups at the end of this video. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was the sound quality, because that was something I was talking about last episode. And the good news is I definitely got better quality audio out of my PA, and specifically the mixer. So those changes seem to have worked really well. You're going to see that in a couple of videos showing up on the channel, hopefully between some gigs I did since these 4. And also at the Wine Stroll, I got a couple good quality versions of things that I'm going to try to cut up and turn into things. I'm also going to try to feature some footage from that to illustrate one of the points I'm going to go into in the tip. So you know what? Let's get right into that. So I wanted to talk about embracing mistakes. Now, my background as a performer is partially musical education. About 5 years ago, I also took some classes in improv, and by that I mean like theater, improvisation. By far the thing that's helped me as a performer, beyond obviously being able to play the guitar, sing, loop, etc., is really that improv background. And so for me, really early, literally the first lesson in improv, they teach you that every mistake is a gift. And I have many gifts in my world these days. And in particular, there's a couple kinds of mistakes that when they happen, there's 2 parts of my approach to the mistakes. One is see what they give you, the improv brain. The other is that there are archetypes of mistakes. I'm going to talk about 3 pretty common ones from a looping perspective. So, for instance, when I'm trying to record that first track in a loop, and now for me that's usually a rhythm guitar part that's really regular and easy to do, or it's a percussion part. That first track, that first loop is very important in terms of teaching the RC600 how long your measures are. So if you have a wonky first loop, everything kind of falls down around it. So I've gotten in the habit of usually, especially if the error is noticeable, I'll know it before I've even heard it playing back. I'm like, I hit a button, that was too early, that was too late. And so what I do is, especially say I'm playing the guitar and I've got the kind of thing there, I'm tapping the kick drum and the snare. What I'm doing is I just keep playing the thing. I keep doing this and I delete without really drawing attention to the fact that there's been a mistake. I don't subject the audience to the mistake. I just, it takes me longer to build it. Okay, it takes longer to build it. It's not ideal. And luckily for me in this area, there aren't a lot of loop artists to really kind of know what's going on. So it's a virtually invisible mistake, but it is something I think is very important to kind of be ready for, because getting that first loop right, we're not machines. I'm sure that some of the really great loopers, they probably get it right 99 times out of 100. I mean, they probably deal with the 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 or whatever it may be. But it's important to kind of have a strategy for when that first thing goes wrong. Second kind of mistake is what I call, oops, I missed the button. And it could be because I was doing a loop arrangement and I was trying to kind of start a part. And this one, I think I'll be able to illustrate some video. And it just didn't happen, I either forgot that I needed to start something going into a solo, I didn't hit play on something. And what I do is actually set up so when I hit play, all of my loops will start on the next available measure, so I can actually kind of hit it early, so I can cue things up and then start a distortion effect or something like that, so I can go right into the solo or whatever without worrying about hitting 3 buttons at the same time. That's something I do. But sometimes you miss the button, or something gets stopped accidentally. If say you're going to a solo and it's supposed to come right in and nothing happens, the next kind of mistake I call kind of the Schrodinger's mistake. I try to make it look like I meant to do that. But what I mean is I don't panic and in the middle of a measure slam buttons until I get it back right again. I sit with it. Okay, so there's a measure, there's just drums going. There's supposed to be a solo here. Okay, 1 measure's all right. Let's make it 2. So I let 2 measures go by, I start the part and I continue the song. So to the outside observer, it's still musical. I created tension. There's something that's happening. It's a mistake, but it's not clear that it's necessarily a mistake. But I think these are those moments where like audience members go, that was an interesting choice, when it wasn't the choice at all. The choice is what you do with the mistake when it happens. The mistake wasn't the choice. So that's what I call Schrodinger's mistake.
On an island in the sun, we'll be playing, having fun, and it makes me feel so fine I can't control my brain. We'll run.
And the third is, we'll call it the train wreck. Your looper crashes, your something just flies out of your head, you're not able to deliver what you wanted it to. It's an unrecoverable error. Whoops, that happened. Hopefully you get one of those every 2-3 gigs. It's hopefully not that common, but when they do happen, sometimes those are the moments that the audience loves the most. They like to know that you're human, especially if you're doing something that looks very impressive. They're with you. If you have goodwill with the audience, they'll be down for all of these. And as someone who has never made mistakes at a faster rate, because I'm now performing far more than I used to, it's very important for me to have these kind of ways to kind of smooth out those edges to really make the performance feel really professional when it doesn't necessarily go to plan. So that's my tip for this week. With that, I just wanted to say thank you again for those who are watching. And if you have any other mistakes or strategies or anything like that, well wishes about the hand, it's all good. But apart from that, I'm going to shut this down here, and I will see you next week. Have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.